Hey everyone, DCB here again. So I just wanted to make this video to show everyone all the work and all the steps that go into making my new Product Pals figures. I initially came up with these as a fun idea that I didn't really think would go anywhere, just sort of a lark, but people really responded to them and I have been overwhelmed with trying to keep up with the demand. I've had to readjust my scheduling of the other work I was doing to give myself time to get these done and out. So I wanted to thank everyone for their patience and also let everyone know that I'm working as hard as humanly possible so I can fulfill all the orders that have come in. Everyone will get their figures as soon as possible. So it seems that a lot of people just assume that all I do is hit print on my 3D printer and out comes a completed figure ready to sell. But the 3D printing is just one step out of many, many other steps that are needed to create these things. The most important first step in the process is the actual creation of a file of which I can print. This is done by me mostly using Fusion 360, which is a CAD program. I've been using this program for several years now, and it's gotten me pretty far with the items I've created, but it's best used for creating more mechanical or hard-edged items. So for more softer, more organic shapes, such as the melted cheese on the Mayor, I needed to finally teach myself how to use ZBrush. It's been a long time coming, but was an absolute necessity if I wanted to further expand my 3D sculpting skills. The program itself has a pretty interesting user interface that took some time to get used to, and I'm still not 100% confident in my abilities with it, but I've been able to start to get some usable soft sculpted shapes out of it. So this, in combination with Fusion parts, was a perfect blending of programs that I needed to create the Mayor McCheese figure and the other figures that I'm going to be doing in this line. After hours of designing and tweaking the files to get everything just right, I was finally able to send these off to my 3D printer. I'm printing these with my Creality resin printer due to the small size and detail I need. And then to help speed up the process, I'm actually making 6 prototype pieces here that I can make into one mold. Once all the parts are examined for functionality and cleaned up, they're ready to make silicone molds off of. I'm doing them in a 2-part silicone mold with my custom designed mother mold boxes. This is a process that I prefer to do when doing molds like this, as I mentioned in my last video. The hats and the sashes are cast in Smoothcast 65D with a custom purple tint. I'm using a 2-part mold and a pressure pot for a better casting result. For the bodies, I wanted a more semi-transparent look, so I'm using Smoothcast 57D with a custom pink tint added. These are also in a 2-part mold and put in the pressure pot. For the heads, I opted to do a rotocast mold on them so that there wouldn't be any pore spouts and there's less chance of air bubbles. I'm using the Smoothcast 65D again with a custom yellow tint. After the castings are all done, I remove them from the mold and then I start cleaning up any parting line on them. I'm going to go through each piece, making sure everything looks good and fits together, and then I'll start to assemble them. I put this long stem on the hat, and that'll go through the head and the sash and the body to hold it all together, just like Fisher-Price would have done. I wanted to do the least amount of painting I could on these just to keep with the simplistic look of the original vintage Play Family Little People figures, so I opted just to do the eyes, the pupils, and the hamburger meat. My number one goal was to keep these as simple as possible, as I think the mistake most people make when doing custom Play Family figures is putting in too much detail. Less is more to capture that vintage toy look, I think. For the card artwork, I came up with this simple Fisher-Price inspired design that I could easily swap out the different mascots I'm planning to do in this line. For the Mayor McCheese artwork, I used this image from an early 70s Valentine, but I didn't like his arms on it, so I swapped them out with the arms from the mayor on this growth chart of the same era. I also flipped his face around so he'd be looking to the left towards the figure. One thing I wanted to make sure of was that each of the mascot images that I used all had a consistent look to them. So my thought was to break down each mascot down into just a black outline, and then I will color them all in Photoshop with these custom magic marker brushes that I purchased from Colormark. So that's what I did here. I had the cards printed as high gloss postcards from Vistaprint, but I wanted a brown cardboard look for the back. So I got some craft paper and then printed the backs on my black and white laser printer. And then I just spray glued both of them together and trimmed them down and then rounded the corners and then punched out the hang hole. As an added bonus and to give the look of authenticity, I purchased a vintage roll of Woolworth price stickers. I don't have a price gun that works with this size of sticker, so I just disassembled a gun that I did have, and then I basically rubber stamped the price right onto them. The bubbles, or blisters as they're sometimes called, were also custom made by me. I designed a buck to vacuum form over, and then I purchased this small scale dental vacuum machine to form them. It's a great option when doing smaller size vacuum pieces like this, as you don't waste as much plastic. And it has a really powerful suction pull on it that gives a nice sharp detail to the plastic. The bubbles then have to be trimmed down and then the corners rounded. I was hoping the corner rounding tool that I used on the cards would work for this, but the reach is too far back and the bubble wall just gets in the way. So I have to trim those all by hand with scissors. Once I have all the card pieces ready, it's time to assemble them. I'm using E6000 glue to attach the bubbles, as it has a really strong hold and it's perfectly clear. But if done carefully, the bubbles can be removed by the customer if desired without damaging the card. I custom designed and printed these plastic rings to go around the bubbles so I can put weights on them to hold them down flat while the glue cures. After about an hour, they're ready to be packed and shipped out. Anyway, that's how these are done. I just wanted to show everyone that it is a pretty involved process and quite time consuming. Like I said, I was never really planning on these being a hit, so I'm doing the best I can to get all the orders out. I'm ending this Mayor McCheese run soon, and then I'll go on to the next character, which will be the Play-Doh Boy. I also have a surprise collaboration that I'll be doing very soon that I'm excited to present to all of you. I think you'll love it. So until then, follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Dustin Cropsboy for all my updates and to see all the other projects I'm working on. Thanks again, everyone.
Darn, that's the end.
Thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel and follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Dustin Cropsboy. Also check out our TeePublic page for t-shirts you can buy to help support this channel, or just go to the website dcbvarietyhour.com for all the links.